What's up, everybody? Scott Scotty Tradition coming at you. Um, whew, what a last 3 days. It was my first national convention in Chicago, and man, what a whirlwind. I was trying to explain to my wife what it was like, and you really can't explain it. I wrote a bunch of stuff down here, but it was just so great getting to meet so many great people for the first time. Um, Whew. You guys know what I'm talking about. I was there for 3 days, and I was constantly on the go every hour of every day. So, I'm gonna try to get through this video will kind of be what it was like for me, who I met up with. I'll do my pickups that I actually got on another video, a second video. But this one I just kind of want to talk about my experiences and who I met up with, and um, just kind of go through a timeline of what happened. So I drove down Wednesday night. It's about a 3-hour trip from where I live. So got into town Wednesday night, met up with Joey, BurtCat8, and Everett, Wenzel888. And met up with Jason Gillespie as well. Not on YouTube, but just Packers collector that I'm familiar with. Also met up with Manny, Card Cave Central, and Josh Reynolds that day. They were in our hotel room, so got to meet them for the first time. Both great guys. Went out to a Mexican place for dinner in the entertainment district, which is a pretty crazy place. If you guys got to check that out. It's all outdoor, kind of outdoor-indoor feel. Just a really cool place in Rosemont if you want to go check that out. So that was Wednesday night, basically just getting there, getting settled. Getting a good night's sleep, or at least trying to, before the show started on Thursday. So Thursday was my first experience with the National, and man, it was a bit overwhelming. I met so many people. I must have met maybe 60 people for the first time. People that I've interacted with on YouTube and on internet and other forums, just on Thursday. So it was a bit of a whirlwind. So I'm gonna just try to get through the highlights, basically. So we first got to the National, right away in the lobby, met up with Mike O, Ed, JT Triple Crown, who was a guy I did not know, I didn't really follow, but a super nice guy. He had picked up a pretty cool card at the National, so make sure to go check out his video. And also Dave's Midlife Card Crisis, met him in the lobby as well. So, right away before I even got on the show, met a few familiar faces from YouTube, got to chit-chat a little bit. I think I talked with Michael mostly out there, and Dave's Midlife Card Crisis. I did get a chance to talk to Ed a little bit later the next day. So went into the show. Basically, I was told, all right, pick an aisle and just kind of snake your way all the way down, come back through, walk slow. Well, I gotta say, guys, that lasted for about 15 minutes, and then I just started running into people and talking, and I must have talked for 4 or 5 hours just talking with people my first day of the National. So right away, I think the first person I met up with was Nate, Tops 85 401. He was with a friend of his that he was visiting in Wisconsin, so chatted with him for a while. That was great to get to meet him. Super nice guy. And then right away, not too long after that, met up with Mike, baseball collector, who is a guy I talked with outside of YouTube for the better part of this last year. So it was great to meet him. Great guy in person, and this goes for almost everybody that I met. In fact, everybody. I don't think I met anybody that I was like, okay, this person is a little off from how I know them from YouTube or online. Everyone's just so genuine for the most part, and it just reinforces your faith in humanity a little bit, just meeting some of these people. It was awesome. Then Mike was with Eric, Those Back Pages, and Andy. She blinded me with refractors. I follow both their channels, almost everything they put out, so as well as Mike. So it's great to meet those guys. And then not long after that, met up with Dave, Blue Jacket 66, and his son, who came to the show. Was awesome to meet him for the first time. Again, great guy. Just everything that is great about this hobby is with a guy like Dave. So met him. I think I met Snoop not that long after that as well. So right away off the bat, just meeting tons of people. And then not long after that, I'd gotten a text from a friend of mine, Kurt, who Eric, those back pages, apparently knows, but he's not affiliated with YouTube at all, but I know him just from being a vintage Packers collector and high-grade football collector. Met up with him, walked around with him for about an hour or two around the show. He kind of introduced me to lots of people. Went over to the Gridiron Greats booth, which is a football publication. Met Bob Swick for the first time, and Josh Adams, who are big football collectors. And also met with Scott Alpaugh from Just Collect, who's a guy that Kurt and I know from a different forum. So met up with him, walked around with Kurt, just introducing me to people, showing me the ropes around different booths of people he was familiar with and different things about the National. Looked at some unopened product with Kurt. That's kind of was his thing. It's something that I'm not usually into, but it was just fun learning about some of that stuff and looking through everything. Truly an awesome time walking around with Kurt. Then let's see here. After that, I think I met up with Brian, B-Roth 6, and Maxa Jackson, and Michael Shane. So that was awesome. I mean, what great guys. Those three guys are outstanding. And to be able to hang out with them, I think I must have walked around with those guys, on and off with that group for about maybe 2 hours, maybe even longer that day. Just kind of looking at cards. Brian picked up a bunch of great Hank Greenberg cards, so you got to go check out his channel, B-Roth 6. He had a great national convention of pickups. And Max as well picked up some great T206 cards, which is not a shocker if you watch Max's channel. But, I mean, what great guys. Max and Brian and Michael, just down to earth. I mean, super authentic guys. I mean, these are guys that I fully recommend getting to know, and hanging out with them was an absolute blast. So I walked around with them for quite a long time. And it was actually around when I was walking with them, I made my first purchase of the National. I won't tell you what that is yet. You'll have to wait till the pickups video, but I was super happy to get that one. It was one of the main cards I was targeting going down to the convention. Ran into in passing with Bill, Hall of Fame collector, and JY, sports card guy. Didn't get a chance to talk to them a lot. Again, it was a whirlwind. There are so many people I would have loved to have talked to more, but you have a finite amount of time, and I was on the hunt for. I think I was on the hunt for that one pickup at the time. So both great guys, of course, and was really happy to get to meet them. Then I met up with a Facebook guy, Lee Buford, who's a Clemson Tiger fan, football collector. Walked around with him for a while. I talked to him on Facebook for maybe the last 4 years, and just great meeting these people for the first time. And it's kind of a constant theme, but I'm just surprised over and over again how easy it is to talk to people and meet people that have similar interests as you. None of it was weird. It was awesome. So walked around with Lee for a while, and then met up with towards the end of the show, met up with Bob Lewis. I wanted to make sure I said hi to Bob. I've talked to Bob on and off of YouTube for a while now too, so really wanted to meet him. And Bob's great. Bob is exactly who he is on camera, and he's an authentic guy. And I got one other highlight. We'll talk about Bob later in the show, but Bob, it was great meeting Bob Lewis, and also Caesar, Pinot Man. Met up with him about the same time I met up with Bob. In the back of the show, Bob was going through some boxes, and then Caesar kind of came out of nowhere. And Caesar is essentially, I'd say, the same guy as well on his, he didn't have the cowbell with him, but just a happy, energetic personality. So that's Caesar for you, and it was awesome to meet him as well. And then another guy I wanted to meet up with at the show really bad was Josh, rated rookie, and finally met up with him. Didn't know what he looked like because he's never on camera, but met up with him when he was with Nate walking around, and looked at some stuff. We actually made a purchase together, which was kind of funny. The guy had a stack of cards. We both needed the card, and so we got a bit of a discount for buying 2 of the cards together, and I took one and Josh took the other. So super cool to meet Josh. Very down-to-earth guy. I feel like we have a lot in common. Both have younger families. Both have similar interests in collecting. So yeah, definitely one of my highlights of the show was meeting Josh and getting to talk with him a little bit. So that happened, and then And that's all day one. That's just Thursday. So then the VFC dinner, which is the Vintage Football Card Community Dinner, was at 7 o'clock at Armin's Pizzeria on Thursday. So went over there. Again, got to talk with Bob Swick and Josh Adams a lot more. My friend Kurt, Mike Blaisdell. Got to meet Dave Back for the first time, which is awesome. These aren't guys that are on YouTube, but they are guys that I've interacted with in other forums over the past couple years. And Brian Wiesner, Lee Buford as well, Jeffrey Payne, Eric Stang. Just great, some of the coolest guys and great football collectors from around the country. To be honest, these are some great people and collectors. So did that, was a great time at the VFC dinner. I didn't get to the YouTube get together till about 9:30 that night, so I was a little late, but mingled there, talked with tons of people. Got to meet Alex Bowman 53 there for the first time, so I'm glad he was there. Met JMVP, John for the first time there. Jerome Yankees Cards, who is a channel I don't follow a ton, but again, most of you guys know who that is, so I met him for the first time there as well. That was awesome. Talked with Michael Shane a little bit more there. And just what a great guy that guy is. Michael Shane, just tons of knowledge, and he's kind of like all-knowing kind of guy. He's super laid back, and was really great to meet him. Just a solid human being, absolutely, that guy. Got to meet another guy I got to meet who I didn't meet at the show because I didn't know what he looked like, was Andrew, Nuff Said Cards. Great to meet him. A guy I've followed since I think his channel first started, and one of my favorites on YouTube. So, and he's an even better guy in person. Just solid guys you'd want to meet. Tons of knowledge. We were sitting with this guy, I believe his name is Mark, who follows a lot of channels on YouTube but doesn't have a channel of his own. And he had this big case full of like T206 cards, and if you got to look in that case, it was ridiculous. So just being like a fly in a wall, listening to Andrew and this guy talk about the cards in this case was like a history lesson for me. So I was just taking it all in. That was awesome. I wish I could have gotten through the whole case. I got through about a case and a half of what he had in there. And then Mike, baseball collector, mentioned that there was a Packers collector that just came on up to the hotel bar, and of course Mike knew that I was a Packers collector, and I talked to that guy for about an hour. His name's Marcus, not on YouTube, but man, I thought I knew everybody in the Packers community. I did not know this guy. He's got an amazing collection. It was really great to meet Marcus. Again, just a lot in common with so many of these people. Let's see here. Who else did I see? I think that's about it for Thursday. Thursday just was a whirlwind of meeting people, and man, what a day. So then Friday came. One of the things I want to do on Friday was get the T206 picture of myself on the card. I picked the Wagner card, so when I go to my pickups, I'll show that card. So right away, got in that line, met up with Brian B. Roth and Max, and Rated Rookie again. Now I feel bad because I kind of cut in line, but what are you gonna do, right? It was actually close to being the PSA luncheon already, so I wanted to get that done before the PSA luncheon. And ran into Mike, and I met Silver Jackify Joe for the first time on Friday, waiting in the T206 line. So that was great meeting him. I think Eric Those Back Pages was there as well in the line. Then I ran into a few Packers collectors on Friday, Chris Orgeman, Scott Robbins, Brian, who's Packer Cards 87 on YouTube. Many of you know him. I also know him from the Lambeau Leap Collectibles group, which is a more intimate group of Packer collectors. And also Michael Phillips, met him as well on Friday. All great Packer collectors. Let's see here. Did the PSA luncheon, which was interesting. I actually did not accept my invitation, so I went with Kurt as his son apparently, which is pretty hilarious. But sat with Eric Those Back Pages, Mike Baseball Collector, Abel in Vegas was there. Also Nolan Elite Code 3, and Josh Rated Rookie, and then Kurt, the guy I went with. And ironically, Kurt was being recognized by PSA on that day for, I think it was Best Vintage Football Set, his 56 Topps football set, which he has every card complete, and I think 80 of like the 130 cards in the set are like top pop with none higher. So Kurt has an amazing collection, and it was really cool to be able to do that with him. After the show, after the luncheon, met up with Filmington for the first time. It was great to meet him. I talked with Phil a lot, random messaging and stuff off YouTube, so it was good to meet him. I felt like I didn't get to talk to him as much throughout the show, but there's going to be people that you just don't get to see as much as you want to. Then met up with Cub fan Jason. Had a few beers with him later that night and during the show. Had a few beers, walked around the show together, and that guy's awesome, man. Jason is exactly who he is on his channel. Just a guy who's pretty chill, just likes looking at cards, kind of BSing and having a beer, and that is my style. Like Jason and I feel like we get along pretty well. So it was great to meet him. Met up with Scove. Scove's Big Hits, just was randomly walking through the show and met up with him. He actually had a couple of good things happen to him from grading at the show. So it was really great to meet him. He's also a Packers collector, Brewers fan from Wisconsin as well. So I bought my third card then. I was with my friend Joey, Birdcat8 of the show. So I bought about one card a day. I didn't go too crazy, but it was awesome. And then went out for dinner after the show with Joey, Birdcat8, and Nick Mizzy, who works for a card shop. I got to meet him for the first time. Let's see here. And that was in our hotel, the Doubletree. We just had kind of like a small meal together. That was great. Then it was the second YouTube get-together Friday night. Met up with, got to talk to Ad Whisker Griff a little more. Met up with Stefan and his son at the show in Beantown 62, who are guys that I followed for a while. I talked to Stefan a little bit off of YouTube as well. Great guy. And, man, his son is awesome. Just to be able to bring him to that show, and he was just eating it up, just having fun. It was so cool to see. Let's see, what else? Just basically mingled that show, or for that get together. Had some drinks. Got to see the stuff that I think it's Foo 3112, who I was not familiar with, but some of the cards that he brought there was ridiculous at this get together. I think it was like 52 Mantle and PSA 6, PSA 10 Jordan, a DiMaggio rookie card in an 8, just some ridiculous stuff to be able to see in person. And after that get together, which was amazing, just so cool to see so many YouTubers and together and just having fun. It was awesome. Walked home after that about 1 in the morning with Andrew, enough Sid cards and B-Roth 6. Well, didn't walk home, but walk back to our hotels anyways, so that was fun, just chit-chatting with those guys a little bit. And then Saturday, by this time, I'm already hitting a wall. Like, I was just going, the whole convention, and even in the evenings, just getting together with people. So, one of the things I wanted to do was to either sell or trade a Saquon Barkley card that I had. So I accomplished that on Saturday and got another card plus cash back that I needed. Bought some wax, which I'll show in the next video. Just hung out, kind of walked the show, said goodbyes to some people, and then I just was hitting a wall. So I left about 2 o'clock and drove back home. So got home about 5:30 on Saturday night. Last people I talked to at the show was Dave and his son, and just chatted with them a little bit, and just what a great experience it was at the show. And then also chatted with, I was just about ready to leave, and then I ran into Mark from Kentucky, of all people. And Mark is a guy who I wanted to meet at the show, but I think he did the Cubs game, so he wasn't at the show a ton. But I was so happy that, because it's a huge show, and it was ridiculously busy Friday and Saturday. So I was so glad I got to meet Mark from Kentucky at the end of the show. And then I just kind of slipped out and packed up the car and headed out, because I couldn't walk around and say goodbye to everybody because I'd been there for hours trying to do that. So, but it was, and it's funny talking to Mark from Kentucky, because he ran into me and Dave at the same time, and he had won a card from Dave's contest. It was a Mantle graded against PSA 7, and he won that Jackie Robinson from my contest. And it was just ironic that he was talking to both of us at the same time in the show, and that we just happened to run into each other. So it was great meeting Mark. Only if it was only for just a brief moment, it was outstanding. Great guy. So I guess I'll just kind of go through some of the coolest things that I saw at the show for pickups. Nate Tops 85 401 getting his big pickup, which I'm not going to tell you about any of these pickups. You guys can watch their videos and they can show their stuff. Mark, he was the guy with that big box full of cards that I was going through with Andrew Nussed cards. Many of you saw some of the cards in that box. That was ridiculous, just going through that. Andrew Nussed cards picked up a huge card. You guys will have to watch his video if you want to see that. Also, Silver Jackify picked up absolutely huge card, so you got to go check out his video if you want to see that. Brian picked up a bunch of great Hank Greenberg cards, not surprisingly. If you want to see which ones they are, you got to go check out his video. Mike made some big pickups as well, baseball collector. Some vintage rookie cards that anybody would want. They are amazing. So you got to go check out his video if you want to see those. Scove's big hits. He had graded 2 Keston Heroes with BGS, and they both came back BGS 10s. That was cool to see. I know he was really excited about that. Joey Burkcat 8 picked up a Star Favre dual auto. If you want to see which one it is, you got to go check out his video, Burkcat 8. But it's a primo card for a Packers collector. It was a big pickup for him, and I was really happy for him. What else happened? Rated Rookie picked up a huge card for his collection. You need to go check out his video if you want to see that. Just seeing Foo 3112's cards was just an insane experience. The stuff that guy has. But I'd say the 2 biggest highlights of the show that I saw that was one was Friday night at the YouTube get together, and Stefan's son, Sports Card Kid, walked over, handed me a Robin Yount patch card, just that he had pulled out of that Allen and Ginter box, just because he knew I was a Brewers fan. So that for a young kid just to do that was really cool. So I accepted it graciously, and man, I just thought it was awesome. It just made me happy to see that. So I still have that card. I will show that when I show my pickups. And then the other one was Mr. Bob Lewis getting a certain card graded and getting a certain grade back. So yeah, many of you know what that is already, but you need to go check out Bob Lewis's video if you want to see exactly what card he got graded and what he got back and the story behind it. Because it's a story of him having a card, pulling it out of a pack with his dad, back in, I think it would have been like 2000, and then holding it all these years and then finally getting it graded and it coming back when it came back. So that was one of the coolest things I've seen. So I guess in summary, what a great show. It was amazing meeting all of you. If I missed any of you guys, which I'm sure I did, it's not my intent, but if you talk to me, just know that I value each conversation that I have with every one of you, and it was great. There was nobody at the show that I talked to who I was like, that person is not what I thought they were, or I don't like this person or something like that. It just kind of, like I said earlier, just kind of restores your faith in humanity a little bit, that you can meet these people from all over the country. They're not that different from you, and just to be able to get along so well with everybody was amazing. So what a great national. So happy I went. Please stay tuned to the next video that I'm going to do with my pickups. And if you did go, hope you had a great time there. If not, hope to see you in a future national. So thanks everybody for watching, and have a great rest of your weekend.